What's up, everybody? Today I wanted to talk about the female Thor, or according to Taika Waititi, she will be known as the Mighty Thor. So not She Thor, not Lady Thor, the Mighty Thor. Now, this is definitely a storyline that it's in the comics. It came out in 2014. That's the time that Disney had already bought Marvel. And it is a storyline that actually did not sell very well, and that's why it stopped. But despite that, they are making a movie with a female Thor, and we learned that on Phase 4, when Phase 4 was announced. So one of the big surprises was not only Blade, but also the fact that Natalie Portman is returning, and she will be played the female Thor. Now, in this video, I will be talking about the comic books and how the storyline goes, which after I did some research, I thought, I actually don't think that's that bad, because in the comic books she's not replacing Thor. She's kind of a temporary Thor because he becomes unworthy. But before I go into that, I wanted to share my feelings about female characters taking on iconic male roles. And if you have been around my channel, you would know that I'm not really a fan. If I were to choose to watch female Thor and Wonder Woman, I would watch Wonder Woman. Why? Because Wonder Woman is an original story, that it was originally a female character. You know, I don't really like this gender swap. I just don't think that's flattering to women. In fact, it's a little bit insulting, because if they're really concerned about diversity and all of that, fine, but create original characters. Don't stop with this gender swapping stuff. It's just not that interesting. When people hear Thor, I want to see, at least myself, I want to see Chris Hemsworth, preferably without a shirt on, because he is an eye candy. But jokes aside, I want to see powerful, mighty Thor. I just think he's such a fun character to watch. I love him going super god mode power. That's what I wanted to see. I don't want to see a woman, now on the female Thor. I just don't think that that's very original, and that's just my personal opinion. I would much rather see Chris Hemsworth coming back as powerful Thor, because especially after everything he went through. So that is my personal opinion. To me, this is the same situation with the Ghostbusters 2016, for instance. I am not interested in seeing that. I'd rather see the original guys. Or again, I wish that they would focus more in original characters, or there's so many awesome female characters like Storm, for instance, or even the Phoenix. But of course, they're not going to go anywhere near the X-Men now. They're going to give us time. But you get my point. This is what I'm trying to say. I would rather see original stories that are actually female characters than seeing gender swap stuff, because I just don't think it's original. I think it's very, that's not, this is pandering in my opinion. Now, that said, I wanted to talk a little bit about the storyline that is in the comics. Like I said, this is a storyline that didn't do very well, but once I read about it, I didn't think it was that bad. I thought it was interesting because it is a story that she is a temporary Thor, so she's not really replacing Thor. They're not killing him off. It is a storyline where he becomes unworthy. However, that doesn't mean that they're going to do the same thing from the comics in this film, because think about it, he already became unworthy in the first film, right? So are they going to do the same thing again? Not only that, Thor has been through so much, lost his father, lost his brother, now we have the bad version of Loki again. His father, his mother, his kingdom. I mean, what else are you going to make him lose? Made him fat and kind of like slow and depressed. I mean, come on, give the guy a break. So I will tell you what I don't want to see in Love and Thunder. I do not want to see sad Thor again. I don't want to see him all depressed again. I just think it's not fair to the original character, it's just, that's not what I want to see. So if they are making Thor all depressed and unworthy again to give Jane all the glory and made her movie, this is the kind of stuff that I'm not gonna like. But if they do something similar to the storyline from the comic books, I think it might work, because I thought the idea itself was, I thought it was interesting. Now, the fact that Natalie Portman is back is the one positive factor for me, because she's my favorite actress. For me, she's the forever Padme. I love everything she's in. I probably watched all her films. I know a lot of people didn't really like Jane, but I wasn't that person. I actually like Jane. I like her love story with Thor, and I'm happy to see her return. And the only reason why I'm a little bit warm to the idea is because it's her, Natalie Portman. But how are they gonna do what they do in the comics? That's my question, because in the comics, when Jane Foster actually becomes Thor, her body is completely transformed. So she's like, she has muscles, she's blonde hair, and we all know Natalie Portman is petite, and you know, she's not muscular at all. She's definitely is going to go through some training, but I don't know if they're gonna do the storyline from the comic book, because in the comic book she has terminal cancer, and every time she transforms into Thor, her body transforms completely. She really she really changes. But anyways, let me tell you a little bit about the story. So like I said before, in this storyline, the only reason why she's able to become Thor is because Thor himself becomes unworthy after Nick Fury whispered something on his ear. The hammer stays on the moon, and even Odin could not move the mystical object. Now, by the end of that comic book, a female is able to wield it, and actually the hammer inscription changes to whosoever hold this hammer, if she be worthy, shall possess the power of Thor. So then later it was revealed that the hammer telepathically sought out Jane, and that's why she was drawn to it, and then she asked Heimdall to take her to that location. But we all know that a lot of this stuff, it's not going to be able, they're not going to be able to do this in the movie, because Odin is dead, right? Heimdall is also not around, also dead, killed by Thanos. So definitely they can't do exactly how it goes in the comics. But anyways, let's continue. So when Jane picked up the Mjolnir, she instantly transformed and gained Thor's power. Jane decided to keep her identity as female Thor a secret, but it drove the original Thor crazy, because, you know, he did not know who took control of his weapon. So the female Thor jumped right into action, and then it was during a conflict that Thor himself, after he saw her fighting, that he actually thought, okay, she's worthy, and he also gave up his name, and he was known as Odinson. So that's the storyline. But the other thing about that storyline itself is that Jane, she was battling cancers, and every time that she transformed into Thor, the mystical power also kind of, you know, saw the cancer as part of herself, and kind of restored the cancer. So every time she would transform into Thor, she would die a little, because, you know, she's human, she's not God like Odinson or Thor, the real Thor. So then she seeks the help of Doctor Strange. So Doctor Strange is basically the only person that knows her true identity, and he tells her, if you transform into Thor one more time, you will die. But she ignored Doctor Strange's warning, and she's transformed into Thor one more time when the fate of the Asgardians was in danger. So it's kind of a brave sacrifice. Then the original Thor, Odinson, finally learned her true identity. He knows that she's Jane, and he was heartbroken because she dies. But eventually, this is the comic book world. Of course, she's brought back to life, and they managed to revive her, and she eventually becomes a Valkyrie. And that is the storyline in the comics. Now, will they do the same thing? Sort of. Obviously, I'm not going to details here. This is kind of a big summary over here. Are they going to do the same storyline, the cancer storyline in this movie? I'm not sure, because a lot of the characters involved are no longer around. Like Odin, for instance. Odin is no longer around. Perhaps they could do something without having him involved. Now, if they do something similar to the storyline in the comics, it could be interesting to watch, as long as, again, they're not disrespecting Thor, because that's my problem. I don't want to see them making fun of him again. I'm tired of it, you know. In fact, I really wanted to see Mighty Thor. In fact, what would make me really happy is if it's Love and Thunder really means a power couple thing. You know, if both of them are going to become powerful, I would love to see that. I think that would be fun. But you know, if she is the only Thor and then he loses his power and he's sad Thor again, I'm probably not gonna like it. However, if they do something similar to this storyline that I just told you, perhaps it will be a little bit interesting, especially if she dies at the end. It'll be very kind of like a powerful moment, you know. But I don't know if they're gonna bring her back and then she'll be Valkyrie. I don't know. There's also the storyline that Valkyrie, the other Valkyrie, is a gay character, so I don't want to see a love triangle between Jane, Thor, and Valkyrie. You know, that's the one thing I don't want to see. Let Valkyrie go hook up with Captain Marvel, but I would like to see Jane back with Thor. However, in the comic book storyline, at this point, they were already separated, just like they are in the movies right now, because technically she broke up with him, right? But anyways, guys, drop your comments below. Let me know what do you think about the storyline from the comics. What do you think about the fact that they're bringing Natalie Portman as a female Thor? Are you interested in seeing this story? Like I said, there's a lot of people with a lot of feelings. The only reason why I'm a little bit warm to this, because I do like Natalie Portman, so I can't really hate on her. I just think she's a great actress. But I do not like the whole idea of a gender swap character. I never liked that. I just don't think it's very appealing, and I wish they would spend more time in really, like, why they don't make female hero movies like that are actually female character, original characters, instead of doing this. You know, like, I really would like to see Chris back at his mighty self. We don't know. Are we gonna get that? You know, I don't know. It's way too soon to talk about it. All we know is that this movie will be 2021, so there's a lot of time. There's no trail. There's nothing for us to talk about apart from speculate to what storyline are they going to choose from, you know, to do in this film. But drop your comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts about the female Thor. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up, subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time. Bye!